As consumers, we are bombarded by it at every turn, like the Incredible Hulk being bombarded by gamma rays. But what makes some media endure, while others are banished to the forgotten black hole of obscurity, never to be heard from again? Who or what decides this? Hetero life mates Steve and Yahel want to know, and they want to know now. This is Obscurity Now. And what's up, Obscurians? It's time for another episode of Obscurity Now, the show that takes a look at weird and almost forgotten pieces of media. Then we decide if they should be remembered for all of human history or tossed in the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again. My name is Steve, and with me, if you say his name 3 times, you might just get another DUI. It's...
It's Yahel. How are you doing, sir?
Good. I don't know where that came from. That's how I picture you in my brain when I just close my eyes.
That's lovely.
I mean, that's how you were when we first met, more or less. But
Lovely,
a far
lovely.
cry from those days, for sure. But I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Did I ask how you're doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to. It
Oh.
was a reflex. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
No, I'm doing well, Steve. It's very warm today.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Florida, it had been cooling down a little bit, and I do mean a little bit, as in not every day was in the hundreds. But yeah, terribly warm. How are you doing?
Great. It's overcast. I can't believe we've gotten to the point where we start talking about the weather on this podcast.
Well, as I'm starting to sweat,
I know it's hard
all I
not
can think
to.
of.
It's hard, but yeah, we're getting into that so-called perfect California weather. It's about the only thing that California has going for it these days. So yeah, I'm probably going to be talking
No,
about it a lot.
they have you.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm trying desperately to get out, much like a lot of people are, but that's another story. Yeah, in the meantime, you and I continue to discuss all the weird and obscure crap that that we can unearth. But today we have something that's not so obscure. Did you ever think you'd ever see a Beetlejuice sequel?
No, because I don't really think about Beetlejuice.
Yeah, me either.
I'm not like a big fan of it. I don't dislike the first one, but I'm not like a big fan of it, or anything like that. But yeah, but I mean, also when I heard that they were doing a sequel, it also wasn't surprising
Oh yeah, of course.
because studios are just looking to mine something that they feel is going to be a sure hit.
Yep.
And money talks. I'm sure Michael Keaton had no problem taking a big check for
Right,
that.
accepting another bucket of money. I'm sure he had no problem with that after being in
Yeah,
the.
maybe he's holding. What he should do is leverage this next time he's asked to like reprise a famous role he did.
Mhm.
Leverage it for a multiplicity sequel.
Oh man, you read my mind. That's so weird. Like that, yeah. That would be pretty bizarre if they did a multiplicity sequel.
That would really surprise
But
me.
yeah, so all right, so he's reprised his role as Batman in that terrible Flash movie. Now he's done Beetlejuice. So yeah,
I
multiplicity
think that's it.
is pretty much the next one. But dear listener,
Sorry, all we can do is a sequel to White Noise.
oh man, I can't. Wow, I saw that in the theater. I can't.
Me too. It sucks.
Yeah, it did. Like I was like,
So
it
bad.
was so weird because I was like, well, Michael Keaton, haven't really seen him in a while. He's in this. Like,
In a horror
what
movie?
a weird
A
choice.
horror, quote unquote.
Right. I felt like that was more of like a thriller, kind of like riding that wave of sort of Sixth Sense kind of horror thriller kind of
Right,
deals.
right.
But
Yeah, it was supposed to be maybe not quite psychological thriller, but yeah, but it was definitely advertised as though it was horror. I do remember
it
that.
was horrible. Oy!
Yeah, yeah.
But all right. So Beetlejuice.
Although I will say, like, I bet that movie White Noise is pretty fun to watch if you're like drunk or high with friends because it's so like stupid. And then at the end, spoiler alert, where like he's in the TV with his wife or whatever,
Man,
and
I
like
don't remember any
the
of
white
that.
noises over them. It's just-
How?
I remember more about White Noise than Beetlejuice the movie.
Wow, that's kind of sad. But I was gonna ask
So-
when was your first time you saw Beetlejuice?
I don't think I saw it in theaters.
Hmm.
In fact, I know I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on TV a couple of times, like probably, I don't know, 1990 or something like that, maybe 91, and I didn't. It's okay, I guess. Like, I don't know. I don't. It's fine for then, but I wouldn't watch it again. I don't know. I just for whatever reason, not that Michael Keaton does a bad job, but I also have a hard time buying him as the zany character, and I tend to not really like zany characters. I don't like Beetlejuice as a character. I don't like The Mask.
Oh, so you don't
Like
like Ace Ventura either?
I don't. Ace Ventura. The first one's okay from what I remember,
Hmm.
because at least like it's easier for me to buy Jim Carrey as because he's always done like super outlandish,
Hmm.
kind of over the top characters, even from In Living Color.
Hmm.
And I feel like it had more of a story and
Hey,
characters than
Ace
Beetlejuice did.
Ventura is a tight script,
I
100%.
mean, it kind of is from what
Hmm.
I
No,
remember.
I love Ace
Um,
Ventura. No doubt
yeah.
about it. But yeah, like I remember seeing it. I think we were like on a summer beach trip. Like you know how people rent out timeshares and stuff like that. And I think either it was a VHS or they had HBO just on, that was included with the timeshare or whatever. And
Hmm.
Beetlejuice was on, and I remember why. I'm pretty sure, just like yourself, it had to be like 90 or 91. And I remember watching, and it's one of those things where it's like, as a kid, you're sort of bombarded with these weird visuals that you think are interesting, but you really have no idea what's going on. In fact, like I don't think I ever understood what exactly was happening in Beetlejuice until like much much later.
Yeah. I know I watched it once as an adult, and
Mhm.
I was even less impressed. And I don't know. Like, who is this? Who is Beetlejuice for? Like, what's the audience? Like, I'm very
Well, I
confused.
think I mean Tim Burton. He, I don't know. He was like that crossover of like, but he was like right on the cusp of like just weird for the sake of weird and almost sort of like anti. What word am I looking for here? I don't know. Just 89 was just the when Tim Burton
Yeah,
just
I
took
mean, yeah,
over.
I mean, he was doing at least like some interesting visual stuff. I
Hmm.
mean, I don't, and a lot of his work, so you can't really deny that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Like I said, even when it came out, like I was just not that into it.
It is a
I don't know.
weird thing to pitch. That I mean, it's hard to like just looking at the way movies are now, it's hard to imagine someone going into like an executive's office and being like, "Okay, here's what I got for you. Okay, we've got ghosts. They're in this house. All right." And this weird girl, she wants them. She wants her family gone or something. The ghosts, they want the family gone, so they have to call this guy named Beetlejuice, who's going to show up and scare them away. What do you think? Like, I
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't really
I,
make any sense.
I'm sure he had a better pitch than that, but
Hey,
yeah, like
hey, that pitch was aces,
still.
buddy. Aces. No, but really, I mean, I don't think you could say no to Tim Burton at that point because he had already done Batman, which made all the money in the world. So they're just like, well, what else you got, kid? And he's like, well, how about this thing, Beetlejuice? And
I mean, had he already done Batman? Because Beetlejuice came out in '88, Batman came out in
no,
'89.
Beetlejuice was 89 too, I thought.
According to IMDb, it was
Oh,
released in
I'm going off
1988.
the cartoon. The cartoon was 89.
Yeah, the cartoon is '89.
Wow, so that's crazy. All right, so he went from Beetlejuice to Batman. Wow, only in Hollywood, I tell you. But yeah, anyway, yeah. So okay.
Yeah, I mean, well, you bring up a good question though. Like, what had he done? Because the thing is, like, for them to come out back to back, that means that production on Batman would have started with Tim Burton before Beetlejuice was even out because
Hmm.
of like, production timelines for movies, especially then. So
Right.
yeah, I'm trying to see what he did before
Pee Wee's Big
this.
Adventure.
Fucking Pee Wee.
What you just said? How you loved wacky characters, including Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee's like the king of the crappy, wacky characters.
I was waiting for a
But
jack off joke, but it never came.
that's a jack off
I
joke.
know, I know, I know.
So yeah, Pee Wee's Big Adventure in '85, And yeah, that was like the last big film that he had done before Beetlejuice, which was the next
Well,
one
what do
he
you
did
think
in between.
overall about sort of Tim Burton and his body of work? Do you have like a couple of films of his that you enjoy? Do you just not really care about any of it?
He's very hit or miss for me. And I mean, again, I know a lot of his movies are popular, especially with the goth crowd, but he's mostly miss
Do
for
they
me.
call out his name in the middle of the throes of passion? The goth girls?
I don't know. I put in the
They're like,
earplugs
oh,
during that one.
Tim. It's like, my name is Yahel.
But yeah, I mean, I like Batman,
Hmm.
his Batman, and I like Mars Attacks.
Oh, thank you. That's like one of my favorites.
Um, I think I can't even remember if I like Sleepy Hollow or not,
Oh, I
but
like that
yeah,
one a lot.
I don't really care. I feel like I liked it too. I just haven't seen it so long, but yeah, I mean, I don't really care much for Beetlejuice, obviously,
Hmm.
Pee Wee, Corpse. What's the
Corpse
Corpse
Bride.
Bride?
The weird
Uh,
thing is that I don't think he didn't. There's a couple of movies that he just has his like name over that he really only produced, like The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I think The Corpse Bride as well. But he's still involved, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah, I mean, he peaked with Planet of the Apes from 2001 anyway,
Thank
so
you. Yes, I was about to say like it's weird. Like Tim Burton, it's one of those names that you sort of heard as a kid, kind of like Steven Spielberg, that just sort of happened to be attached to like stuff that you were into, like Batman. And I mean, I don't think he really had a hand in Batman the Animated Series, but if it wasn't for Batman '89, there would be no Batman the Animated Series. And
right.
for every other child in the '80s who's not named Yahel, Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and then of course, yeah, and then for whatever reason, there was a cartoon for Beetlejuice that he executive produced.
Yeah, and credit where credit's due. He's involved apparently in this, so
Yeah,
and
involved
they
in taking
brought
the
in
money. Yes,
yeah, and Danny Elfman is they're still using his
of
music.
course.
Uh, I assume Danny Elfman did the Beetlejuice music. I mean, obviously he did the Batman
Well, he
music.
did the theme. I mean,
The
the
theme, yeah, yeah,
actual
yeah.
episode music is done by a different guy.
Right, right, right. Although I thought it was pretty in keeping with like the theme of the show, the
Sure.
music
Yeah, yeah,
throughout the
yeah.
episode.
We'll get there, but
Yeah, sorry, I know I'm encroaching on your area, but by the way, just real quick, for the longest time, I guess I assumed it that Dark City, that movie,
mhm.
was made by Tim Burton
Oh, I think that
just because of the look.
it's yeah, the look, I can definitely see that, but it's like way too serious. I think most of Tim Burton's stuff.
They're gonna say it's way too good.
That's a good one. We might need to
We
cover
should
that
cover.
one.
I
It's
love
Yeah,
Dark
me
City. I haven't
too.
seen it in a long time.
Well, same here. But no, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, for a while, I would say that I used to say that Tim Burton never really made a bad movie until that Planet of the Apes remake came out, and I was like, this is awful, and which is sad because, as we discussed on the Planet of the Apes, the animated series, I'm a huge Planet of the Apes fan.
You're a huge ape
I'm an
head.
ape head, 100%. And I thought, that it would be interesting. And they had a lot of good actors involved in that, at least popular ones at the time. And then it came out and it just sucked. And then he kept doing more crappy remakes after that, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And what was the other one?
Where again, what's his face? Johnny Depp is just being a weird zany
Right,
character.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, at that
This
point,
man has a crutch. And I'm talking about Tim Burton, not even Johnny Depp.
right, yeah. I mean, at that point, I was kind of like, sort of tired of his shtick. And I feel like he may have taken sort of like a step back, but I guess now, I don't know. I would say that Tim Burton was like creatively bankrupt, which I mean, coming back with a Beetlejuice sequel doesn't really like prove otherwise. But hey,
I
whatever.
mean, I'm sure they probably just like offered him a shit ton of money, and
People.
he's like, "All right, I got to pay off this mansion somehow."
The weird thing is that do you? I don't know if you read the format that I sent, but like, he's not a. For the longest time, I thought Tim Burton was the creator of Beetlejuice. He isn't. It's someone else. And in fact, why don't we just go ahead and dive into Beetlejuice, the animated series? Are you ready?
Alrighty.
Welcome to your feature presentation.
But am I correct in assuming that you thought that Tim Burton was the creator of Beetlejuice as well?
Yeah.
But no, it's not him, and that's why we do this show, ladies and gentlemen, for little nuggets of trivia like this. It's created by this guy named Michael McDowell, and he was a novelist who also did wrote for Alfred Hitchcock Presents, your and my favorite show, Monsters. Make sure you check out our Monsters episode. Tales from the Dark Side, and also Nightmare Before Christmas. And do you remember that Stephen King movie, Thinner? Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess he wrote the screenplay for that. But yeah, no one ever talks about that guy. It's all Tim Burton this and Tim Burton that. He's such a wacky character. That's why Yahel loves him. But yeah, when this cartoon came out, I mean, all right. So you said that you weren't, even as a kid, you weren't really a fan of Beetlejuice. So when this movie came out, like, what was your, or cartoon first came out, what was your initial reaction?
I mean, I remember the commercials for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the cartoon came out before I watched Beetlejuice, but I didn't watch the cartoon because I didn't care to watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the cartoon, I distinctly remember like thinking that this looks like it's for like little kids.
Yeah.
Although I was like 9 when this came out, actually 8.
you were you were already reading Playboys at that point. It's
Yeah, yes. I was actually beginning to create the marketing strategy for Maxim magazine, even though it wouldn't be released for another like 20
Is
years.
that magazine even still around?
I don't know. I actually I think it is, but I think not in the United States. I think I'm gonna look into this,
Okay.
man. But I remember like there was that magazine was so popular that they had like a spin-off called Blender
Oh yeah,
magazine,
okay.
and then there were a bunch of like other like copy like rip-off
Blender was supposed to be
magazines.
more for music, right? Or some
No, I think it was just more of the same.
more naked girls, almost naked girls.
I think so. Well, Maxim itself is still a brand, Maxim.com, and looks like they're still doing the same kind of stories. Yeah, I guess it's around. I don't know if the magazine is, but um, seems like it is. They have a magazine
I
section
want
and a
to
Maxim cover
for
girl.
Halloween. I want to see you wearing a No Fear shirt, reading a Maxim magazine, drinking a Surge. How about that?
Oh man.
But yeah, I remember when this cartoon came out, and I was just like, why would I want to watch a cartoon version of like that movie? Is it just didn't I didn't find it very appealing at all. Although I did watch a few episodes, and just probably to kill time on a lazy Saturday. And I was like, wow, this really isn't doing it for me. So I'm really happy to be watching it here in 2024. Good job, me. Good job, me. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into the IMDb here. So Beetlejuice, it's not called Beetlejuice the animated series, it's just called Beetlejuice. But the Beetlejuice cartoon ran from 1989, 1991, 4 seasons. Could you believe they got 4 seasons out of this?
No.
94 episodes. And the episode we're watching is the first episode. It is called Critter Sitters, and it premiered September 9th, 1989. And here's a synopsis. It's Beetlejuice and Lydia's first year anniversary, and he has no money to get her a present. Her getting a babysitting job prompts him to do the same, only he doesn't quite get the idea behind the job and finds taking care of neither world infants more than he can handle. It's worded very oddly. But we already talked about the creator of Beetlejuice, one Michael McDowell. Look him up. Unfortunately, he's passed away. So if you hate Beetlejuice, you can't like find him and throw stuff at him. But you can probably go find his grave somewhere. Just saying. Anyway, this is directed by one Robin Budd, and he directed 21 episodes of Beetlejuice, 51 episodes of Hotel Transylvania, the series. The movie, I think it's like direct to VHS, Peter Pan, Return to Neverland, and 4 episodes of something called Gerald McBoing Boing. So he's still working in one fashion or another. And it took 2 writers to bring Beetlejuice, the animated series, to life. This is written by one Patsy Cameron and Ted Anasty. And I think we mentioned them before back when we discussed Alvin and the Chipmunks. They did 94 episodes of Beetlejuice, 82 episodes of The Smurfs, 50 episodes of DuckTales, 30 episodes of The Little Mermaid. That's where they're from. They're from when we reviewed The Little Mermaid. Do you remember when we did that?
We reviewed The Little Mermaid?
The series, Little Mermaid, the series.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yep.
right.
And then 9 episodes of Alvin and the Chipmunks. And as we mentioned earlier, this is actually executive produced by one Tim Burton, which means he was just happy to take money from it, basically.
Yes. It's like, sure, you can put my name on there for money. And maybe he threw them a note every once in a while.
It's like, oh, we need more vomit coming out of Beetlejuice's mouth. The kids, they're just not going to laugh.
More babies.
Yeah, what an odd choice. All right, who are some of the voice actors who lent their talents to this?
I'm not going to go over anybody who just did additional voices. There's not really anybody of note in that section except for Tara Strong, who has been on everything, I believe.
Lynn Carlson.
I think I have them. No, I have them on my regular because they did a real voice.
Cool.
Just let me do this, okay?
Okay,
buddy.
Okay.
Just relax. All right, so playing the voice of Beetlejuice, we have Stephen Oumet. Oumet, is that French Canadian?
Probably.
We met. Perhaps. You can find him on shows like Sling and Arrows. He was also on 21 episodes of the original X-Men cartoon. And I assume he begins every morning visiting his local French bakery and enjoying a croissant.
One could only assume.
All right. Then we've got playing Lydia Dietz, Allison Court. Allison Court, I think we talked about her once before as well.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I don't know what it was that we would have covered her on, but I'm pretty sure we covered her. We talked about her because she was on My Big Comfy Couch, another show I absolutely despise.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly for you, but have you ever actually watched an episode?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
I don't want to get into how this happens.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
You know, sometimes you wake up in a Nickelodeon hotel, and anyways.
Some weird goth girl fetish, I bet.
No, it's not. All right. Then we've got Roger Dunn, who played Charles Dietz. Roger. Oh no, I think I closed. Oh no, I'm good. Roger. It's got quite a few credits to his name. Most of them are live action. He was in Police Academy. He was the booking sergeant. I don't remember that character. Must have been like a quick one-off. I wouldn't mind covering
Police Academy, the cartoon or the TV show?
No, the movie.
Oh, okay.
1984 movie. I wouldn't mind covering Police Academy.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, he was on a bunch of stuff. 32 episodes of Beetlejuice. Then we've got Elizabeth Hanna, who plays Delia Dietz. She's done quite a bit of voiceover work, including the Care Bears Big Wish movie, which is not one of the ones that we covered. She did a lot of Little Bear. You ever watch Little Bear?
I'm familiar with it. I think I may have seen like a couple minutes here or there.
Well, strangely enough, I've never watched it. She was in Police Academy, the animated series.
There we go.
So, yeah, and one of your favorites, Cops. She was Susie Mirage Young on Cops.
Oh, nice.
65
man.
episodes.
Why haven't we covered Cops yet? All right, someday.
Didn't we cover Cops?
No, didn't we? No, I don't think so.
I feel like we did.
We always mention it in tandem with something else. I'm pretty sure we've haven't covered it.
Maybe it's just we've brought it up when talking about
that's what I'm saying.
Actors. Yeah. All right, and then Steve's favorite, Len Carlson, who plays Judge Mental. And I know why you wanted me to talk about this guy, Steve, because yes, he was the voice of Swamp Thing.
Yes.
Is that what you wanted to hear? Yes. You feel better now,
Swamp
baby?
Thing.
You feel good?
Thank you.
He was also in another Care Bears thing we didn't cover called Journey to Joke-A-Lot. Where would you like? Which part of your head would you like to be shot in?
Oh man, I still can't wait till we get to those weird Star Trek Care Bear episodes. We're doing that someday.
That's fine. The only I've only seen screenshots of it. The only thing that worries me, it's by the time it's like the finale. So they've got the the animal bears with
Mm-hmm.
like
The
you know what I'm talking
cousins, the
about, like
cousins.
the cousins.
Yeah,
Thank you. And I hate the lead one,
the
the
lion.
lion one. Yeah, he sucks.
I just assumed you hated all of them.
Yeah, I do. I like the grumpy one, the one with the
Grumpy
cloud.
Bear, yes.
Did I tell you I had a stuffed grumpy bear as a kid?
I've got it on record on when we talked about the Care
Yeah.
Bears, yes, and I had the Good Luck
Well,
Bear, which is ironic because my luck is shit.
well, this guy Len Carlson was also on the original X-Men series. I played Robert Kelly and President Robert Kelly in 10 episodes. And Steve, he was an Ace Ventura Pet Detective, the cartoon,
Oh,
2 episodes.
wow, man, it's all coming together, man.
Yeah, but he's in a bunch of
Yeah,
stuff.
he's
Like,
been around.
yeah, yeah. He doesn't say no.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, hey, work is work.
Yeah, exactly.
And that pretty much does it for the cast of everybody else is just additional voices and no one really of note.
Alrighty, you ready to talk through this riveting episode? All
Sure.
right. So the theme plays, and of course, it's the Danny Elfman theme, straight from the film. Do you like Danny Elfman's work?
Yeah, I mean, I really only know this theme and the Batman theme.
And
I
and
mean, I know I've heard other stuff, but just off the top of my head, I can't think of
the
any. But yeah,
Simpsons. What about his early?
didn't he do the Flash TV show or
Yes,
something?
yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I like.
Although, didn't it sound like a leftover Batman
Yes,
song
yes,
or
it
something?
did. That's exactly what it sounded like. No, I like his movie work, but I also really liked his band Oingo Boingo. So check it out if you're unfamiliar. You ever hear any Oingo
Oh,
Boingo?
no, I've heard of the band, but
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard the band.
Yes. So
He did the Simpsons theme?
yeah, you never knew that?
No.
Yep. So moving on. Yeah, basically it bombards you with. I like. What do you think of it opening up with just Beetlejuice laughing like incredibly maniacally, like a supervillain, basically?
I was like, oh, this isn't gonna be good.
And how who do you think Sting stole the "It's Showtime" from Beetlejuice, or Beetlejuice stole it from him?
I always assumed that it was from that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So yeah, basically the opening bombards you with just a bunch of weird and wacky images, all set to the Danny Elfman theme, and then we see the title card for the episode, Critter Sitters, and Beetlejuice is talking to us, the viewer, monologuing, if you will. You know how I enjoy that. As he's talking about how he's shopping at the Netherworld Mall. For some reason, his shoes are singing that Deo song. Do you even remember why that song was even in the movie?
No, I didn't even remember it was in the movie. I assumed it probably was because it's very unusual
Mm-hmm.
for like a quote unquote real song
Mm-hmm.
to be in a kids show like this,
Yeah.
even if it is just a character singing it. So, because I would assume that they would have had to pay for her to sing, right?
Well, I mean, just to sing a few bars, I don't think you have to. If you go a little bit further than that, but they probably already have the rights for it because they would have had to license it for the movie. So,
Yeah, but it would probably just be for the film.
oh, that's true.
I
But
mean, it depends obviously how the contract was
right,
written.
right. I mean,
Um,
nobody probably gave two shits about Deo before it showed up in the Beetlejuice movie. So,
yeah, because I mean, who knows? Maybe they were already planning on doing a cartoon, if the movie did reasonably well or whatever.
right, right. So,
So they might have all, gotten all the rights and everything situated.
I'd say
Because
you're
because
probably right.
because then otherwise you'd also have to pay Danny Elfman separately
Mm-hmm.
to use the song, and that's yeah. I bet it was just a package deal.
So basically, he says he's shopping for Lydia. Then he begs us, the viewer, for money. Cut to Lydia. She's in the regular world riding her bike on a very nice day. She too is singing Deo for some reason. I mean, I guess they were like, Tim Burton was just like, hey, look, what was the director's name again? Shoot. Um, Robin. Look, hey, Robin, buddy. The kids, they're going to want to hear that Deo. You got to get it in there. And so they get it in there twice. And so Lydia is singing it as well for some reason. I mean, who cares? She arrives at her home. She greets her cat and her dad, then enters her room to discover that her mom has basically normalized her room. If for some reason you've never like seen Beetlejuice or are unfamiliar with what's going on here, basically Lydia's parents are your typical normal parents, and she's goth, like super,
Right.
yeah. If Daria, if you're familiar with Daria, she's very Daria, even though she was predates Daria. Anyway,
I would say she's like a lot less dry
oh
though
yeah,
than
for sure.
and not depressed.
Right.
Like Lydia's like cosplaying a goth.
Yeah. Winona Ryder doesn't have the the range to play Daria.
Hey! Don't talk about Spock's mom that way in the 2009 Star Trek movie.
Oh, she was. Was she any good?
Yeah, she actually was.
Okay, well, all right, whatever. Moving on here. So basically, she enters her room, discovers that her mom.
Wait, have you never seen the 2009 Chris Pine Star Trek movie?
But that was that when they did the first reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did see it. I just don't remember her in it at all. Oh, well, all right, I remember now. Man, I guess I didn't recognize her. How about that?
You know what it is? It's because she has such like a nuanced, subdued performance. I didn't recognize her either.
And then they cast her in Stranger Things, and all that subtlety just went out the window. But
I actually don't think she's a bad actress.
she's okay. I mean, when they were redoing Beetlejuice, I mean, if she didn't show up, I would have been okay. But whatever. So
I would have been okay if nobody showed up.
yeah, right. I mean, really, all you need is Michael Keaton. But sorry. So basically, her mom has normalized her room. She's redecorated it to look normal because they're gonna have guests later. And she's like, oh, and make sure you try to smile, ha ha. Basically, she's telling Lydia to be normal for once, and of course, Lydia's gonna have none of that because she's so dark and mysterious.
You just don't get her, bro.
Yeah.
You just don't understand, Steve.
Yeah, right?
Have you ever even been inside a Hot Topic?
More times than I'd care to admit. But so mom leaves, and Lydia, she recites the Beetlejuice spell to resurrect him, and bam. She basically her room then turns into this cold tomb looking thing, which, I mean, you must have been all about that. You were like, oh man, if only they had more coffins in there, I'd totally be at home, right?
If only, yes.
So Beetlejuice is wearing a sombrero at one point, and then he and Lydia do this really lame sort of dance routine with toys joining in. I don't even remember why they did that, but do you remember the song?
Oh, I remember why.
Why?
To kill time.
That's what we're doing here, right? But like, do you remember the song, like how it went that they were dancing to?
I sure don't.
It didn't have any words. It was just like boop 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 beep boop 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 boop, like, and that's it. And again, I think this is I don't remember any dancing in the movie until the very end. But yeah, it was just it was just out of nowhere. And man, if you hate singing and dancing in your cartoons, then you're gonna hate this episode because there's one more like I don't know if I'd call it a dance routine, but a song that happens at the end. But yeah. So obviously, it was a very memorable moment for you since you couldn't even remember the song. And yeah, whatever.
Treasure it.
So Beetlejuice says it's their anniversary party tomorrow, which I don't exactly understand what anniversary they're celebrating because they're friends, right? Is it like a friend anniversary? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, at first I was like, wait, are they together?
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember that from but by the end, I think it's Beetlejuice wants to be with her because, like, she says like at the end, when they exchange gifts, she really likes the gift that she Beetlejuice gives her, and she's like, "Oh, I could kiss you," and he gets all excited about it.
Right, and the whole point at the end of the Beetlejuice movie, and it's been years since I've seen it, is that he like tries to marry her so he can become mortal again or something like that, right?
Yeah, sure.
We should have really had a guest, someone who actually gave a shit
We should
about
have like
Beetlejuice.
read the synopsis about Beetlejuice, Joe.
Hey, who cares? All right. Well, someone must, because evidently the sequel supposedly is doing well. I mean, it's
Yeah, I'm not surprised it's doing well.
yeah, because it's nostalgia. But anyway, so Beetlejuice says, "Oh, should I put up some decorations?" And Lydia says, "Oh, we can't put them up like today because she's got a job." And then Beetlejuice is like, "Oh, a job!" And then Lydia's mom calls her down. She's like, "Oh, that's the job right there. I have to go babysit." And then she basically leaves, and then that gives Beetlejuice the idea to also be a babysitter. Anything to add about any of the any of that riveting stuff there, Yahel?
No, no, you did such a wonderful job of covering it, Steve. I would hate to prolong the coverage.
You just want this to be the shortest podcast we've ever done. I get it. I get it. All right, so we cut to Beetlejuice. He's babysitting this weird looking slime kind of thing, which kind of reminded me of the slime from Earthworm Jim from last week's episode. Aren't these
Yeah,
sort of two sort of similar cartoons, you think? Earthworm Jim
yeah,
and
yeah. Like the setting and whatever in the Netherworld or whatever. It does look very similar in style.
yeah, it's that very, it's wacky 90s, basically, is what's going on.
Hmm.
But we can compare and contrast at the end here, because I think I know, I think I know which one you would probably prefer. But moving on, so Beetlejuice is babysitting a slime kid, then like a weird platypus boy, and then a giant baby, like the giant parent shows up and drops off their giant baby. Meanwhile, Lydia is feeding her a nice, normal human baby. For some reason, we have to know that its name is Erlo for some reason. Then Beetlejuice gets vomited on, and then Giant Baby destroys Beetlejuice's apartment. Beetlejuice then appears to Lydia in a mirror while she's babysitting and says, he's babysitting too. And she grabs the baby and goes to help Beetlejuice. Because I guess she sees that Beetlejuice is being overwhelmed by all these monster babies. So as the responsible, I guess, teenager that she's pretending to be, she, grabs a human baby and goes to the Neither
Hmm.
world. Does that make sense to you, Yahel? Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, that's what you do, isn't it? I don't know. I try to stay away from children.
Right, right, yes. I remember all the times when I babysat, all the weird occult shit that I got mixed up in. Those were the days.
Ah, yes.
So the sandworms. All right. So now Lydia is on in the Neither world with Beetlejuice with a human baby. The sandworms sort of show up for no reason. Do you even remember that sandworms were a part of the Beetlejuice movie or world?
No,
Yeah, I mean,
no, were they?
they were. They were. They were. I don't know if the writer or if Tim Burton. It's sad. I can't even remember his name. It's like Malcolm McDowell or something like that. I don't know if they were big fans of Dune or if just
Malcolm
I
McDowell,
mean, it sounds like it's it's
the
Michael
commander from
McDowell.
Wing Commander, or Admiral Talon.
That the very one. No, it's Michael McDowell is what it is.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I mean, sandworms were just so hot in the '80s. You hell, they just had to throw them in Beetlejuice. From Dune to Beetlejuice to Dune again.
Tremors.
What?
Tremors wasn't
Oh
that like?
yeah, yeah. Good callback. Good callback. All right, so the sandworms show up. Lydia says they need to feed the babies food, but there's a sort of important little thing here where Lydia says, "Why can't you fly when the sandworms are around?" And Beetlejuice just says, "Oh, I can't because I'm just too scared or something." I don't even really think he gives an actual reason, but it's something that happens that you don't think is very important, but it actually plays out towards the end of the episode. So there's a lot of unfunny, sort of cringy gags that happen coming up. I mean, they've already happened, but there's more. Beetlejuice opens a barrel of toxic waste. The babies eat it, and then Beetlejuice and the kids.
Yeah, it's like their baby food or whatever. He
Yes.
had like some, netherworld-esque name for the baby food,
Right.
basically.
The basically Beetlejuice and the kids have a little food fight with the toxic waste, and then Beetlejuice turns himself into a baby again simply by saying, "I feel like a kid again," and then he turns into a baby. And
Yeah, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, Steve, but is that like how? Because again, it's been so long since I watched the movie. Is that how it works? Like anything he like says, I blah blah blah, like he'll just turn into that? Because throughout the episode, like he'll say like I'm strong as an ox, and he'll temporarily turn into an ox, but then he turns back into himself a few seconds later without having to say anything.
this is why you don't like Beetlejuice very much, or at least characters like him, and this is why I don't either. It's because there's really no rules for Beetlejuice. I mean, the only rule is you say his name 3 times. Like, that's it. And then other than that, he can turn into and pretty much do whatever he wants, and then the writers can just make up whatever crap they want. I mean, am I wrong?
I mean, that's what it seems like to me. But what wasn't like his whole shtick in the first movie that he's trying to like you said, be mortal again or like make it back to the real world
Yeah,
permanently?
I guess for animated Beetlejuice, there's really nothing, there's not very much motivation for him, so he just gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I feel like this is, well, we'll talk about it.
Okay. But yeah,
Well,
I'm glad you interrupted me because yeah, this is like when he turned into a
me too.
baby out of out of nowhere. I was like, "What? When did he ever turn into a baby?" But they're just coming up
I mean,
with stuff, reasons to have a
which is
script, basically.
which is fine that you're doing something different that wasn't in the movie. Like
Mm,
that's fine. I mean, this is a series. You're gonna run out of stuff if you're only doing stuff that happened in the movie.
sure.
But and I think you're the same as I, where like I don't really care what your characters do as long as you've set some rules for the world you've created and they follow those rules.
Right. And that also goes in line with like, why does Beetlejuice need money? He's dead. I
Right.
don't really understand he and Lydia's relationship here in the animated series compared to the movie. Like, it was just,
Yeah, I,
just
I
thrown.
feel like this should be like episode 8 or something of or 7 of the season. Like doesn't it feel like this is like some episode like you've missed
Yeah.
like 6 episodes or
Oh, yeah,
something?
absolutely. 100%. So, moving on here, Lydia then tells him to say, "Oh, I feel like myself again." But he doesn't because he's a mischievous little scamp now. And then Lydia freaks out because she realizes that she has to babysit everyone now, like on her own. So
Yeah.
now baby Beetlejuice says he wants a present. Lydia says no. And then all the other sort of monster babies freak out and they run away. Lydia chases after, almost forgetting the human baby. But the monster babies grab him and then they run amok downtown. So I guess the idea is that Beetlejuice says he wants a present, so they're going downtown to like a department store or a Walmart or something along those lines so they can get toys, more or less.
Right.
So then there's an unfunny newscast about the pudding wars. Like, do you remember this?
Yeah. Where the anchor's like interviewing. I will say like there's one gag here that actually got a very slight chuckle out of me because the news anchor says, "Oh, we're here interviewing an old timer about," because he says like we haven't seen a food fight like this since the pudding
Yeah.
wars. We're gonna interview this old timer here who was there, and then the camera turns to the old timer and he's like literally wearing like some like old military uniform
Right.
from like hundreds of years ago, which I don't know for whatever reason it made me chuckle that this guy's like wearing like this uniform from like hundreds of years ago. But
Right. Well, I mean, he's a ghost, so it actually makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. But then basically the guy that's interviewed, the news anchor asks him, "Oh, do you remember who started that giant pudding war?"
Hmm.
He goes, "I was a baby named Beetlejuice." So it's like happening again.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, this I feel like is very sort of in line with Earthworm Jim and other sort of 80s or late 80s and early 90s cartoons where, they spoof the news, and then later we're going to see them do a spoof commercial just like they did in Earthworm Jim last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Killing some time.
Yeah,
Killing some time.
right. Because I guess it's an easy joke that is supposed to be funny, but you decide for yourself, dear listener. Oh, by the way, you have like 12 days left to watch Beetlejuice the animated series on Tubi, which is where we watched it. But it looks like it's going to be
Yes.
leaving soon. So, anyway, so human baby Arlo. All right, now they're inside like the Walmart or the department store. Human baby Arlo is driving a classic sort of big wheel, and he's dressed like Rambo because I guess that's supposed to be funny or cute or something. Lydia catches him. I'm sure you thought it was hilarious, right? Little babies, a little dressed up like Rambo, was looking all tough and
Oh,
stuff.
yes. Yeah, yeah. I love the idea of a murderous baby with PTSD from the Vietnam War.
Oh, it's from the Pudding Wars.
Mm.
So, okay, Lydia catches baby Beetlejuice and baby Arlo. Then they throw in that commercial for this fake cereal called Scream Puffs. But do you notice how the animation changes for that commercial?
Yeah, actually, I thought that was pretty interesting. It's like almost more of a painted style.
Yeah, I remember they do that throughout the series. Whenever they have like I guess certain TV shows or commercials or whatever, yeah, they have that weird. I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah,
Yeah, I
painted.
mean, it just looks like painted instead of like a painted background with a hand-drawn cell or whatever over it. Just looks like all painted,
Yeah,
even the
it
animated
looks
parts.
different than the rest of the Beetlejuice show. But yeah, I always thought that sort of stood out to me even back then when they did that. So baby Beetlejuice says, "Me,
That was like Tim Burton's one note
yeah,
to
you got to have those,
make
yeah, weird
so that he could get
commercials."
credit.
There you go. Yeah, and money, more money. So baby Beetlejuice says, "Me want," and Lydia says, "Oh, grow up." And then Beetlejuice says, "Me grow up," and then he does. So there you go. There's the twist, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm.
Then the cops show up and ask who is supposed to be watching these babies, the monster babies, and they all say Beetlejuice, and then Beetlejuice gets arrested. I have to say, I didn't see that coming. And then it turns into basically a courtroom show. Beetlejuice is now in a cage in a courtroom, and the prosecutor basically calls all these like wacky little past incidents. What did you think about the sudden turn in the plot here?
Um, I just wanted it to like be
So
over.
you were really hating life at this
I
point.
was like, oh, it's still going on.
Hmm.
But it doesn't last too long. But I don't know. It felt kind of tacked on. But a lot of this episode just kind of felt like,
Thrown together.
yeah,
I agree. So some of the little incidents that they mention is kind of, I don't know, they're supposed to be like wacky and like off the rails. He says, the Gila monster in the mayor's underwear incident, and then Beatlemania. Haha, get Beatlemania, you
no,
get it.
no,
And so they're about to judge Beetlejuice as guilty, and then Lydia shows up and defends Beetlejuice by saying he deserves a second chance. And this is really like I can forgive a lot in these like older cartoons, but when they did a second like song and dance routine, oh man, I was just like, there's no way I can forgive this. So yeah, Beetlejuice and Lydia do another song and dance routine, but the judge still says he's guilty, which I do kind of approve of because like had this been like a Disney cartoon or something like that, he would have been like, "Well, your stupid dance has changed me. I see that Beetlejuice is actually good." But no, he goes ahead and charges him guilty anyway. Beetlejuice
mhm.
says he was only babysitting, and this is when they're trying to make it sappy a little because he needed the money to buy Lydia a present. And then he's still judged guilty and dropped to the sandworms, which that is his like ultimate sentence. I mean, I guess like how do you kill a ghost? You feed him to the sandworms, which I do remember that
Sure.
was a thing from the movie. So Lydia calls the giant baby to come and save Beetlejuice as he's like falling down like from this chain thing. He comes and pulls him up from the worms. The worms still come out anyway, causing baby Arlo to fall like near them. And then seeing the baby is in danger, Beetlejuice is able to fly down and go save him. Well, after Lydia basically massages his ego. Do you think this is enough to build up Beetlejuice into being a hero after these actions?
Is he supposed to be a hero? Do you think?
I think he's supposed to be an anti-hero. I think they were just
I don't know.
looking for stuff for
It's
him to
so
do.
Yeah, it's so weird because in the beginning he's like demanding like kids give him their money, and when I say kids, I mean like the kids watching,
Right.
because he breaks right, he's talking directly into the camera, and then yeah, everything else he does, which is like terrible. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't come off likable. Lydia's likable enough or whatever, I guess, but I mean the show's not called Lydia Juice.
Right. Man, she has poor taste in men if Beetlejuice is supposed to be like her boyfriend or whatever.
Well, I think again, she just wants to be friends, but he's like, yeah, I'll take it, even though she's still like in school, which it brings up a lot of strange questions.
Ooh, such as?
Well, Beetlejuice is obviously like an adult,
Right.
right? And doesn't Lydia describe herself as like a teenager or
Oh, she
something?
definitely is.
And she's still like in school. She's a minor, and he wants her to kiss him.
Ooh, delicious! I like where this is going.
So it just seems a little strange, a little Chris Hansen.
Yahel,
Chris Hansen.
there, Yahel. It was the '80s, man. The swinging '80s.
Barely. This came out in '89.
The people who wrote this were whacked out on cocaine, man. It's okay. It's all right.
I see.
All right, but none of that here in 2024. That doesn't fly. Okay, so basically, Lydia then pleads to the judge and says that Beetlejuice could only use his power to save the baby. He wouldn't even use it to save himself earlier, which I mentioned earlier when he fell by the sandworm. The prosecutor tells Beetlejuice they're going to have to pay for the damages, but he's, deems him innocent, more or less. And Beetlejuice commands the babies to eat the prosecutor's briefcase, which that was really weird. I guess that's supposed to show that it's supposed to complete Beetlejuice's arc and show that he's a good babysitter now, I guess.
I guess so.
Then at the end, Lydia hands Beetlejuice a present for their 1 year friend-iversary. We're still trying to figure out their relationship, ladies and gentlemen. And Lydia tells Beetlejuice, don't ever change, which it's like, no, Beetlejuice needs to change like more than anyone in the whole world. He's a horrible, horrible ghost, don't you think?
Yeah. I don't get why she's friends with him.
Yeah, well, I guess she's just, again, you said she's a Hot Topic poser, right? That is the kind of person they would be friends with, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess to her it'd be cool to be friends with a ghost or something.
Right. So she could go to high school and be like, oh, look, I'm so cool. I'm friends with an overaged ghost. He's going to sneak me into the ghost club and we're going to do ghost drugs together. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
All right. So are you ready? Anything else to add? Are you ready to render your verdict?
Let's render.
Okay.
Remembered or underrated? That's the question.
All right, Yahel Velazquez. Do you think that Beetlejuice the cartoon should be remembered for all of human history or tossed into the black void of obscurity, never to be heard from again?
Well, Steve, shocking. I thought this was pretty bad. I guess this was maybe geared at toddlers or something? Like I'm very
it can't be.
confused.
It's got to be 8-year-olds. I'd say at least 8-year-olds, 7 to
Think?
8-year-olds. I mean, toddlers aren't going to get any of this stuff. I mean, it might be bright enough for them to keep their, but this isn't what.
But there's so much like stupid like singing and like.
But no parent is going to set their toddler in front of. Even in the 80s, they're not going to set their
Yeah,
toddler.
maybe.
In front
Yeah,
of this.
maybe you're right. I just can't imagine like an 8-year-old really enjoying this either.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't
I
know. It's a no for me. It's a throw it into the bin of obscurity, obviously.
Well, I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you, though. Apparently, it does seem that this show does have its fans. I think it might, because I mean, when I was working at Universal, they still had Beetlejuice's Graveyard Rock and Review, and there was like lots of people who still wanted to be Beetlejuice and take pictures with him and stuff. And I remember there was a guy who had bootleg DVDs of this animated series, basically. And I'm just like, what? People care about that crap?
Yeah, I mean, and as far as the cartoon from the 80s, I mean, it's rated higher on IMDb than most cartoons we cover from the 80s and 90s.
Mm.
I don't see a single episode under 7.1. A lot of them are, quite a few of them are in the eights for season one, also.
Oh, I personally find that insane because it's going to be a toss for me as well. It's just a lot of unfunny gags. I mean, it's very similar to Earthworm Jim, but I got way more chuckles from Earthworm Jim than I did from this. Yeah, I don't think they're. I mean, I could say I don't know. The animation style is okay if I'm gonna say anything positive about it, but it's not gonna keep my attention span as an adult male, and it didn't even keep it as an 8-year-old in 1991 or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's shocking they got 94 episodes out
I
of this.
know, it's insane. So, for all those reasons and more, we are judging you, Beetlejuice, to be obliterated. Goodbye.
The heathens have spoken. You are obliterated.
Do you think you'll ever watch the sequel?
No, because I feel like I would have to watch the first one again to like really have context. Because I obviously you and I barely remembered um,
We
the
really did our
first one.
research for this one, buddy.
Yeah. So nah, I don't see myself watching it. What about you?
Well, I think I like the movie a bit more than you. I mean, again, I don't really have like a strong nostalgia for it. I didn't like sit around and be like, oh man, I wish there was more Beetlejuice content. But if I'm on a plane and they have Beetlejuice on there, maybe, just maybe, I'll give it a shot. But
If you're trapped inside of a long metal cylinder with nowhere to go,
if the guy from Saw puts me in one of his traps and forces me to watch Beetlejuice, least my head get cut off, then I'm sure to watch it. Yeah, I think that's it. Anything else you want to talk about before have you seen anything newer or watched anything newer lately?
no, I do want to watch the supposedly it's horror movie called Abigail that's on Peacock. Allegedly, it's pretty
Oh
good.
yeah, even Red Letter Media said that one's pretty good.
Yeah, and those are some cynical
Yeah,
fucks.
yes
So,
they are. Yes they are. Oh
I
man.
mean, I love Red Letter Media. Don't get me wrong. But nah. Otherwise, man, I have not watched anything new.
I've
New.
just been
What about you?
oh man. Me and my beloved started watching some not very good shows that I'd rather not mention.
Not very good
No,
shows.
I mean, they're shows for women mostly. This show on Netflix called Perfect Couple.
Oh, that show's great.
You didn't watch it, you liar.
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's got like Nicole Kidman, and man, she's like literally looks like a Stepford Wife now, which I know she was in the Stepford Wives remake. I mean, she's not the problem. It's the show's just, it's just not for
Poorly
me. I'll
written.
say that. We did watch House of Dragons, which surprisingly wasn't that bad. But I haven't seen anything good worth talking about, to be quite honest with
Great.
you.
We'll just keep covering old terrible stuff.
I mean, hey, we hit a few hidden gems here and there. You know, we have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
start programming for Halloween coming up here soon. maybe we can go back to weekly for that for just the month of October. If you want to. But you've been getting a lot of. You working on a new video or anything?
I've been working on this video covering the history and making of NBA Jam.
Oh, still on that.
So
Okay, cool. I'm doing a
some
video about the Beetlejuice video games.
Oh, really?
No, absolutely not. Nope.
Because I'm doing one about Beatlemania.
Oh, wait.
The Beetlejuice Beatlemania.
See, I would rather do the Beetlejuice Beatlemania than the actual Beatles. But
yeah,
they suck. Thank you.
Well, maybe sucks. They're way overrated.
Yes.
The most overrated band of all time. Maybe saying they suck is a step too far.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there.
They didn't do anything that special.
No, definitely not.
I hate to break it to everyone.
Yeah. They just because you sing about peace and love doesn't mean it actually happened. I mean, come on. Let's be real here, people.
Well, I mean, the song. There's lots of other bands around that time that sounded similar.
Yeah, sang about the same crap.
They're not. Yeah, some of these guys are not like master lyricists.
No.
Songs tend to be very basic.
Yeah.
Then
they try,
which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying that every song needs to be like some crazy complex thing or whatever, but I don't know, man. It's crazy how they're heralded as like the greatest band of all time for so many. Like
I know, man. If we if I put this segment out on TikTok, we'd get so many hate views. Maybe I will. We'll see.
I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people that are, maybe not a lot, but I think people have come around on the Beatles I'm not saying that they're terrible or anything, but just overrated.
Yeah, they're a bunch of frauds. Admit it, frauds.
Yeah, they're fine. I think like Paul McCartney's like solo stuff and Wing stuff is better than the Beatles.
I agree. Stuff. Oh my God, we should.
Yeah, John Lennon's solo stuff too is better.
I'm less familiar with his solo stuff than I am with Paul McCartney.
Ringo Starr's maybe not so much.
I always liked the Live and Let Die theme for the James Bond movie, which was done by Paul McCartney.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
Well, this is taking an interesting turn, but you ready to call it?
Yeah, let's call it before we have the estate.
Who else can we talk about? Well, they already know that we hate religion. All right, I know Yahel doesn't like Robin Williams very much.
I don't like him as a comedic actor.
Mm-hmm.
Or a comedian.
I mean, it's now fashionable to hate Disney. But man, I used to get so much hate for hating Disney back in the day. Now everybody caught up to me. I'm a real innovator, Yahel. I'm a man
Disney's
of tomorrow.
Fine. I mean, the thing is, like, Disney makes so much stuff,
and most of it sucks though.
Some of it's gonna be. Yeah. Okay. I think people like just say Disney sucks to say it sucks.
What's good? What have they done? All right, aside, I guess you could say Deadpool and Wolverine is Disney, which you still haven't even seen, so you can't even judge. All right.
Right.
So what can you say that you've seen of Disney?
I mean, whatchamacallit, X-Men 97 was fantastic.
Okay, I'll give you that. That one thing. One thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far,
I'm sorry if you made it.
No, you're welcome. But let us know what you think about Beetlejuice, the cartoon. Tell us if we were wrong, even though if you're saying we're wrong, you're the one that's wrong. Yeah,
Tim.
Yeah,
Burton, listening.
Tim, baby, call me. I need work. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share and all that other stuff. Tell us how much you hate the Beatles, religion, and Disney down in the comments below.
Yeah.
And we'll be starting up a cult here real soon.
Yep. The cult will be based around the movie White Noise, though. So.
Yes. Damn, we're going to have to cover that next month. Oh, my God.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, shoot. That reminds me.
That's one of your picks.
I did see something new that you should check out and or we should cover. It is a movie starring a wrestler that I saw on Tubi. It's called... Shit. All right.
Wow, that's quite the name.
Once I find this, we're signing off. I promise everyone. I've been meaning to tell you hell about this for a while because it's actually pretty good, and I think you're gonna like it. Just give me 1 minute to bring up Tubi on my phone here, because I left it on my list. And it was weird because it showed up in my. Oh, is that it? No. Do you watch a lot of Tubi?
I don't know if I'd say a lot, but yeah, I throw it on usually once or twice a week.
Damn it, where did it go?
Or if I'm feeling like looking for like some B horror movie or some terrible B action movie I've never heard of.
They've got the best.
They got you covered.
Oh, they sure do, and it's free. Why isn't it showing up? Gosh.
Do you remember who the wrestler is?
No. It's not. I don't think he was ever. It's a guy I would say is probably big in Canada, because I didn't recognize him. I'm gonna try this one more time. I can't believe it's not here. All right. Well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to solve this mystery another time, because it doesn't seem to be showing up in my Tubi for some reason.
Is that like a newer movie, an older one?
It's brand new. It just came out in 2024, and it's
not Heaven's Revenge, is it?
No. What the hell is that?
I don't know. I'm just trying to Google.
That sounds like a movie Sting was in, one of his Christian movies.
You know, our good friend and former professional wrestler Johnny Armani, aka Mike Labaska, he's in a movie on Tubi.
Which one?
Called The Secret Life of a Dominatrix.
Oh man, we've got to watch that.
It's not worth
it. It's not even like
he's only like in a scene, and it's like basically the two main characters are on a couch watching a movie. He's in the movie that they're watching.
Oh, I think you've mentioned that before, actually. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to you about that movie, and we'll talk about it later. Sorry to leave you all in suspense, but make sure you join us next time, where hopefully I will remember to mention the name of this movie. All right. We will see you next time as we continue to unearth more obscure media only on Obscurity Now. See you next time.
You've been enjoying Obscurity Now, a podcast that's recorded live to tape and streamed to Twitch and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode or hilarious quip. Take us with you by following the download links provided in the show notes to wherever you get podcasts. And take notice of our various social media links. If that's what you're into, I'm not here to judge. And make sure you join us live next week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific as we continue to discuss more obscure media only on Obscurity Now.